The driving club at Road Atlanta's iRacing League heads into its third round of the season, 2 weeks after a trip to Austin, Texas and Circuit of the Americas. This week we head over the Atlantic Ocean and to Italy and the Imola circuit for our third round of the season. Kyle Heyer joined by Finney and DeCuna tonight for what is sure to be a pretty exciting round of action. 5 drivers from the driving club at Road Atlanta going to work here tonight, battling and trying to take down David Madden from atop the point standings here, Finney, as we enter our third round of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to seeing these guys get around here. Imola, a fairly tricky track, very technical to get around, so it could pose a big challenge to some of these drivers out here, especially in GT3 car machinery. In an F1 car, you can argue this car is almost designed to fly around this circuit, especially through some of the chicanes, but with a GT3 car, a little bit big, a little bit clunky to get around here.
Yeah, a lot of elevation change here. Akmenarale, famous sequence of corners. Of course, Tamburello reprofiled after the Ayrton Senna incident back in 1994. Variante Alta, great passing opportunity down into Ravazza, that final left-left complex that leads you back onto the front straightaway. We head down to the racetrack now to finish up qualifying. Qualifying is underway, and the top of the screen is your qualifying order as things stand and the best times that drivers have laid down so far. David Madden is the quickest of the group so far. That's been sort of a constant over the last couple of weeks. Christopher Habib in the number 14. There he is in an Audi R8 LMS. Cal Denice in the number 55. There he is in an Audi, so is Jason Owens. He's in a Ferrari, and Cameron Campbell's here in the number 4 Porsche, the only rear-engine car here in this field. Not as much manufacturer diversity as one probably would have expected here, Finian, but a handful of Audis competing against the Ferraris in the 3 and the 5, and the Porsche in the number 4.
Yeah, you're see what's gonna really which one of the 3 is gonna win out in this battle. Currently, Madden in that Ferrari, definitely the one to beat this season, as you mentioned. Dominated last time out at Coda. No one was really able to hold a candle and just kind of took off and away and was never really touched on track. Again, with the difference in qualifying times, looking to be a similar story here as he's 1 second up on Cal Denice.
Have a look at the track temperature. Over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. That's pretty toasty. I think we're going to see that be an issue a little bit later as the track continues to warm up here. But Madden, as you mentioned, top of the board, he's in that green Ferrari, followed by the number 14 in the Audi. Then it's Cal Denice in the number 55, Jason Owens in the 5, and Cameron Campbell in the number 4 at the moment. So track temperature will be something we're following as well, but also just consistency in keeping the car on the road. Imola certainly has its twists and its turns, and it's a fun circuit. There are a couple places you can get yourself into trouble. One of them we're heading to right now. That's down at Tamburello. That left-right chicane can really put you into a bad spot if you jump the curbs too aggressively over there.
Yeah, especially the Indica curbs. The normal curbs, not too big of an issue, but the Indica curbs there, you can see the black and yellow curbs. Make sure you keep the car off them. That's what they're designed to do, to keep the cars from going on them and gaining advantage. But if you do hit it, you could be going for a while right off the track. And even the Villeneuve chicane too. This section, this first corner, really fast, and you have to get the car slow down into it. You're basically turning into a braking zone for the right-hander, and then through the hairpin here.
And a lot of the corner exits take you right up to the edge of the road, including into the gravel trap area. That can put you into trouble as well, so make sure you keep all 4 tires on the road. There's a few places you can kind of get away with running a little bit wide. Piratella at the top of the hill here. David Madden is probably going to explore a little off track there over the turf. Got to watch the oversteer pulling the car back on the track, and then it's down towards Akmenarale, which is such a fantastic sequence of corners. High-speed right-hander, brake, down a couple gears, right-hander again before you climb up the hill towards Variante Alta. That's a really great section of Italian race road right there, and David Madden executes very nicely. He's 7/10 up on Habib in the number 14, then Cal Denice behind him in the 55, followed by Owens and Campbell.
Yeah, I was just talking about Akmenarale again. It's such a vital sequence to this lap because you can make or break your lap. If you go flying off to the side of the track, you can get a cut course and lose a lot of time out. But it just making a hot lap in general, if you overshoot, if you undershoot the corner, you can gain quite a few tenths, or you can lose quite a few tenths on any given lap.
Here's Campbell down into Akmenarale, the first sequence of the corners, and then that second corner, a lot of speed through the second part for Cameron Campbell, and he goes for a slide. And here's what that looked like down into the turn. Just carried too much speed. Watch that left rear tire, drags it over the pavement, and around you go. Really easy to find yourself in an oversteer situation doing that. So you got to keep it a little bit tighter on entry there. course,
working his way through the chicane. Sorry.
yeah, big curb hops there as well. And those track limits have been tightened significantly, Finian. There used to be a little bit wider. You could get 4 tires up over the black. But now, with some of the adjustments that iRacing has made to these FIA, Formula One circuits, that track limit is a lot narrower through there. And you really have to keep 2 tires in bounds at all times. Otherwise, you'll get yourself a slowdown. One of the few instances of iRacing tightening a track limit after the track was released on iRacing. So that's one thing we'll have to keep an eye on, is cut courses and penalties from running off the track out to track out. That will be something we'll follow all night long, and just spins in general. If you want to win this race, you're going to have to stay in line on the road and not going the wrong way around. We've seen that a lot, where drivers will make a mistake once or twice and it will cost them the race, as their foes will be able to basically stay facing the right direction. And if other people around you are spinning and you're quick and not spinning, then you're going to have a better race.
Yeah, absolutely. And essentially that's how David Madden won lap two weeks ago at Coda. Just managed to keep the car going in the right direction. Pretty much everyone else ran into some issue or the other, whether it was a spin, car contact, or just running off the road. And Madden made pretty much no mistake. There's one time where he got maybe a little bit loose, but other than that, no spins, no incidents for him, and he was able to walk home with wins in both of the races. So yeah, I think that's going to be a big thing here today. I've seen Madden go off a few times in the track again. I think just trying to find the limits. Looking at Jason Owens in the Ferrari, currently in 4th place.
Hard not to look at him.
The second half of the lap.
There's a lot of colors on that car. I think he's got all of them. Some internet discontinuity there. I actually had to laugh working at in World Challenges paddock this year and in the last couple of seasons. There is one driver that for the Zelus Motorsports team that runs a Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo. They run kind of a patchwork of different pastel colors. And I asked him, because they were official Lamborghini colors, like the orange and the green and the blue and all that. I asked him how many of the colors they had, and he said yes, which meant they had all of the Lamborghini official colors represented on that car somewhere.
I always appreciate a response like that. Yes.
And all the cars in that camp, including their GT4 class car, the AAA to Sean Whalen, they also has a similar paint scheme on his GT4 Aston. Different partnerships and sponsorships, but still just as colorful. And the 66 of Derek DeBoer that runs for the Racers Group. That was a pretty spectacular livery as well back at Sonoma a couple weeks ago. I got a chance to tour the Racer Group shop, which was really neat. So it's actually a winery also. So it's a winery and a race shop. They work in conjunction with each other, and so they got invited as a team to the a wine tasting and little after party at the Racers Group shop. They had some really neat cars there. They had a couple of the GT4 Porsches rather laying around. They also had one of Andy Lally's old COT NASCAR chassis laying around, which was pretty cool to see. They had a Pikes Peak hill climb car. They had all sorts of cool stuff in there.
Oh, cool. I assume they just bought it at auctions?
No, there were cars that were run by TRG.
Oh. Really?
Which I didn't know that Andy Lally and that team had been associated with TRG, but indeed they were.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what was surprising, the connection. Okay.
Yeah, so that was a cool trip, and it was kind of neat to see the behind the scenes of operations like that. And I'm not really much of a wine person myself, so I was a little out of my element there. But
my dad is. I'm not really.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, that's one of the things you get to do at these World Challenge events is sometimes you get to tag along, and big boss man Stefan was there, which was really cool. So. Yeah, things are looking good. Next round for SRO competition is going to be at not at the Ozarks, which is news as of today. It'll be down at NOLA Motorsports Park for the next round. But we don't have a lot of tracks like Imola in the United States.
I wish.
This is a place that's like a combination of the heritage of Indianapolis, but the kind of the setting of Road America and Watkins Glen combined.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful track. I think what's really good about this track is that it still has a lot of an old school feel. It doesn't feel as kind of technical and like precision sculpted on a computer, because a lot of the track wasn't. A lot of the original layout is still here. A lot of the corners have been modified. There's quite a few chicanes thrown on the track to slow these cars down, because if there wasn't a chicane there, these guys would be flying through these corners at ludicrous speed. But other than that, most of the turns are still in their original state for the last several decades. So I think that's why this track still feels so classic in a way, and it just flows very well. It's so hard to get, but it's so satisfying to nail a hot lap around here. It's really hard to describe unless you get into the sim or any racing game for that matter. And hot lap here, it's a fantastic feeling.
Yeah, this is one of those places, though, that I have to admit it hasn't been one of my favorites to watch closed wheel GT racing at. I'm not sure what it is. I think it's because generally I like tracks that are sort of shorter in run length. This is kind of a longer track. Lap time's up in the almost to the 2-minute range. But it tends to race really well on open wheelers, especially. But I think we'll have a good show tonight with the 5 drivers we've got from the DCRA competing here this evening in their 3rd round of their 2022 Spring Championship. Should be another season upcoming as well, so that'll be a lot of fun to be a part of. 2 minutes left here before we turn things over to the races. Fitting we have 2 of them tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. We got first a 12-lap heat coming up, and then that's going to set the field essentially for an 18-lap main event coming on later. And as you mentioned, David Madden last week took home a lot of points, leading the points championship after winning both races last week. We'll see if he'll be able to do something similar here today. I think really all he needs to do is just keep the car on the black stuff, and he should be good. Again, easier said than done. Coda very forgiving, a lot of paved runoff at that track, but here, as you can see in the B-roll, not a lot of paved runoff at Imola. There has been artificial grass you can see added in a lot of corners, but beyond that, just beyond that, is a lot of grass and a lot of sand that can easily get your car out wide. You can lose a whole lot of time, potentially end up in the wall if you're not careful.
Yeah, the biggest problem with using the grass is that you're not going to hit anything immediately, but you're going to hit the grass and then go for a spin, and then you'll hit something. So the grass sort of counts as runoff in the sense that you're not immediately going to smash into a concrete wall, but usually just precedes the contact that's going to happen a little bit later. So that's something to keep an eye on all throughout this race. The weather, another concern here, very shady and nice in the B-roll, but hot on the racetrack during this session, almost 110 degrees. So they have to watch, especially these the rear tires on these cars. If they're not using that traction control to keep the wheels from spinning, you could get those rear tire temps up a lot. And if you're scrubbing the tires in the front, oh boy, you're going to have those tires really, really toasty by the end and be struggling with understeer in general.
That's another big thing, too. You're talking about traction control. Guys in the Ferraris, mainly David Madden and Jason Owens, got to watch out for the launch. Remember, standing starts for this series. Caught David Madden out last week at Coda, just was not able to launch off the line, especially compared to the Porsche. I think the Porsche, one of the best GT3 cars to launch off the line. So I'm curious in Madden. I'm not sure if he's been using the pit limiter, which gives you traction control. I'm not sure if he's been using it. It didn't look like he did last week at Coda. I'm curious if he maybe learned that or has figured that out or figured out a better way to launch the car here, because that could easily cost him his pole position. Oh, wait, no, never mind. I got a rolling start.
Rolling start this time for the field here today, and it'll only take us a moment to get through our grid, so let's do it right now. On row number 1, in the number 3 is going to be David Madden in the green Ferrari. To his outside will be the number 14. That will be an Audi R8 LMS. That'll be second place, Christopher Habib in the blue and white car.
And moving on back to row number 2, it's going to be Cal Denise in the 55 machine. Next to him, Jason Owens in the 5 Ferrari in 4th. And then rounding out your field of 5, Cameron Campbell in the number 4 Porsche.
All right, so 5 drivers, 2.5 rows of cars going racing. This race will take us approximately 21 minutes if we kick things off here in just a moment. So 12 laps at first and then an 18-lapper to wrap things up. That race will be a little bit longer, or almost 40 minutes. So that's going to be maybe closer to 30. But either way, just about an hour of racing action here for these drivers tonight. David Madden on that front row. He's going to be the one to beat. Everybody knows it. The field rolls off now. Not a lot of time to get temperature of the tires and brakes. You want a little bit, but you don't want to overheat the tires and brakes. So that's going to be a delicate balance. You see the 14 already weaving back and forth, as is the 3, just to generate a little bit of temperature before they take the green.
Yeah, I was going to say what is it, the brake mashing or none?
The brake dragging that's been all in the news
dragging,
lately.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you can't talk about iRacing without talking about that. Lately,
We probably can. Man, I don't get the drama behind that.
some people you can't. It's sacrilege.
There's a lot of hacks in video games, and that's a minor one in my opinion of all the things. Time to go racing here from Imola for the driving club at Road Atlanta, round number 3 of the season. David Madden is in command. Number 14, Chris on the outside, coming to the green flag. And here we go. 12 laps of racing, and green flag, finally. It took him a long time to get it. We're going racing at Imola. Immediately, Madden clears the 14. Here comes a 55, a Denice up the bottom behind the green car. Oh, there's contact entered around. 3 cars involved on the run to turn 1.
Yeah, it looked like he Denice overly slowed for the corner, I think anticipating the Ferrari of Madden. Oh, actually, it was Madden that jumped on the brakes earlier. That caused Denice to slow down and then get hit from behind.
Another look at it. They just, they kind of came together on corner entry. Go back a little bit farther, we could probably see that. The 5 car moves over a little bit and then gets into the back of the 55 as he lifts, comes back across the racetrack, gathers the 14. And a big mess there. The 5 car already around again. But up front, David Madden is making this look easy. He is free and clear of the drivers behind.
Yeah, I was going to say, we got lucky, got absolutely no damage out of it. So he's just going to be able to try to check away. Christopher Beebe sitting in behind, trying to catch him, as well as Cameron Campbell right behind in the Porsche.
Campbell was closing in on the number 5 through Minerale and up the hill towards Variante Alta. And that Porsche, as you mentioned, Finney, and the Porsche on the standing start is a significant advantage because of where the engine is in the car. The engine in this car is right here. It's behind the rear axle. On these other cars, it's actually between the rear axle and the driver, which is sort of forward. So the more weight you have over the rear of the car on the initial launch, the better off you're going to be on a standing start. But with the rolling start, that isn't quite as big of an advantage.
No, it definitely wasn't. If anything, the Audis were getting a decent launching, and then not sure that was car related, or just the drivers getting a better jump. Madden didn't really get too good of a start. Unfortunately, we saw that incident heading down into turn 1, separated the field, especially in the back. Jason Owens and Campbell trying to make up time. Owens and Denice trying to make up time.
Down into turn 1, Campbell's late on the brakes there a little bit. Overdrives the first corner of the Tamburello sequence. And Jason Owens will drive away just a little bit. 14 car stays in second. There he is.
Yeah, it's going to be a matter of if he can try to catch up to David Madden again. For Madden, all he really needs to do is just kind of drive at a decent pace. Not a lesserly one, because Khabib had some decent pace in qualifying. So as long as Madden can keep it on the track, should be more or less good. But Khabib also, he's going to be trying to push him, not only just to catch Madden, but also he's got Campbell trying to breathe on his neck.
Oh, big slide there from the 14. Did he go off? He did. Gathers it back up. Oh, he's got the right sides in the grass and goes scrambling for grip. Here comes the 4 around the outside, and he'll grab the spot.
Made life easy for Campbell, so now Campbell has some clean air. See if he can try to catch Madden in his Porsche, going all the way from the back of the field in 5th, all the way up into 2nd. Now has some clean air.
Towards Variante Alta again. This is probably your best passing opportunity over the course of the lap, if not for Ravaza at the end of the lap, which is down to this next sequence. But it's just one of those areas you just can get such a great run on the driver in front of you, and then you're just challenging him to a braking duel. 14 deep on the brakes again, but look at Campbell. He's really late on the brakes in this Porsche, and he's kind of giving up time mid-corner. You see him tracking out wide. It's going to bring the 14 right back into the mix.
Yeah, I think pushing just a little bit hard through some of these sequences and allowed Khabib. He's caught back up, and he's getting a really solid slipstream. Curious to see if it's enough, if he can make a move by the time they get down to turn 2.
Yeah, 2/10, now a 1/10.5. Here comes the 14. Will Cameron Campbell go defensive? He will not. The 14 backs out on the run to turn 1.
And Campbell was taking it very, very cautiously on the brakes. Khabib had a chance to dive in, decided not to, figure it was not an ideal move.
See up the road, 6 seconds clear is David Madden. He's watching in the mirror as these cars get smaller and smaller. Campbell, really nice flow through Villeneuve chicane.
Yeah, he's definitely, I am sure Madden's definitely loving this, looking at seeing these guys battling in behind. It's just that way they can focus on the battle with themselves. He can just kind of check out already almost 7 seconds up the road.
Now it comes down to which driver is better at which area of the racetrack. For Campbell, much better through the Villeneuve chicane. But it seems like 14 to Christopher Habib is better on the second half of the lap from Variante Alta on. See him close in here into Ahmed Arale.
Yeah, a big dive for the Audi, lost some time on exit.
And into Variante, or excuse me, into, yes, Variante Alta over the curbs, nicely done. Keeping it in the bounds. Let's check in on Jason Owens in the number 5. He's got some damage on that car from that opening crash, and I don't think it's helping him out. But he did run quicker than Habib last time around, so there still is hope for this car, but he's a long ways back.
Yeah, I think he's figuring it's better to just kind of stay out and run because he's still ahead of Cal Denice in the 55 Audi, so I think he's still trying to just keep ahead and at least finish this race off in 4th. If he pits now, there's no way you can catch backing up and get that 5th place back, so I think figure just we'll deal with it for now on track.
And same thing, yeah, Denice in the 55 got some big damage on the left rear of that car, as well as the entire front clip pretty torn up on it. Madden leads by 7.6 as we approach the 1/3 mark of this race. Campbell and Habib separated by 0.8 of a second. Now this battle is far from over at this point. Watch the 14 though. Got into the curbs at Tamburello and almost washed wide.
And we're talking about the track limits, watching out not only just for the chance of a penalty from running wide, but just in general, just avoiding the grass, because very easy to just run a little bit wide to get in the grass. Even we saw Habib when he was rejoining in this next corner, that he almost ended up spinning out just from getting in the grass, and the traction control kicking in. It could be your best friend, it can also be your worst enemy.
Really good run for Habib through Piratella. He's figuring out where Campbell's struggling, and he's gaining a lot of ground in areas that the 4 car is not. Now Campbell stays defensive here. He's going to stay off the racing line, now move back onto it, into the braking zone. That will force the 14 to jump on the brakes a touch early. The Porsche scampers over that chicane very nicely though.
Yeah, Habib awkwardly moving through there in comparison, so has to make up some time. If Habib can stay close now, he can easily make a move on the run down the front straightaway. Arguably the easiest passing zone around this track. Ooh, wide for Campbell into Ravaza, and now here comes Habib. Can he nail the exit though? This is crucial.
Oh, look at the run the 14 car got. This is going to be a pass here. I think he set this up nicely. If he can get in the slipstream, he should be able to drive right by that 4 car. There's a lot of straightaway here at Imola. But look at the legs that Campbell's Porsche has.
Yeah, just can't overcome the slipstream because that Porsche, as you mentioned, has got a good amount of top speed.
Oh, they're going to crash. Not quite. Very tight and tidy through turn 1, and through goes the 14. Nicely done.
And Habib is out braking the Porsche there. Clear and simple. Solid move.
So move the 14 back into 2nd place where he started this race. Campbell's up 2 spots. He started back in 5th. Owens and Denice back in 4th and 5th, 12 seconds behind this duo here. Oh, the 4 car way up wide onto the AstroTurf on the exit of Tossa. And will now give chase to the 14 once again. I'm getting the sense that, wow, look at the 4 car in the grass. Whichever car is the trailing one is going to have the advantage tonight. Look at that 14 scamper for grip.
Yeah, the big thing is if they can stay in the slipstream and stay close enough, which I think between these two seems like it's possible. They both seem to be fairly equal on pace. Like neither driver could really break away. Well, we'll see Habib starting to break out to small lead over Campbell.
Well, it takes a little mistake to let the other driver reel him back in, though, especially if you miss the chicane, which the 14 car almost did.
Oh, yeah, he almost did, but still gave up a lot of time in the process. Here comes Campbell catching back up. Now, again, you have to be close enough to the bumper of the other car by the time you get on the front straightaway, and you really have to nail the exit out of the 2nd turn, the final turn coming back on the straightaway, because that's really going to be where you make up a lot of time.
This is a track that I think really benefits from getting into sort of a rhythmic mode, right? There's some areas of this track that are just difficult unless you're completely in it and your brain power is focused entirely on just putting together a lap from start to finish. There's a lot of corners, a lot of different sections, so if you can piece it all together and kind of get yourself into a rhythm, it's a little bit easier. If you attack each component as a separate one, it feels pretty messy to drive around here, especially in a car that's got some damage like the 2 Audis and the Ferrari of Jason Owens.
Yeah, it's kind of like the parts of the race when you kind of just don't even realize you've been driving for so many laps, especially in endurance races too. It happens a lot where you kind of just get in the zone. You're kind of just turn your brain off and you just kind of going with the flow. You get in that zone and just kind of can feel the flow of the track. That's what you kind of need, especially at a track like Imola, like you're saying. It just flows so well. Each section flows into the other. And if you can nail all of it together, you can really put in a good lap. And David Madden's been doing so consistently, stretching that lead almost to 10 seconds now.
Yeah, 146.934 last time around. About 2 seconds clear of the next quickest driver, so he's certainly found a home here at Imola. There's some damage to the 14 car as well, which is going to hurt the overall performance of that car. On the left front mostly, you can see the left rear's got a bit of a droop to it as well. Not as bad as Owens and Denice are fighting. Those two drivers have a lot more damage from that opening collision, but that left front fender, that 14 car took a wallop on the opening stint.
Yeah, it's definitely not doing him any favors. And Stu, you can see the 4 keeping him pretty honest, still close in behind in case the 14 makes a mistake. You see right there the extent of the damage on the left side of that car.
I tell you, that's not supposed to be like that.
Now, wings, a lot easier to replace than doors.
Definitely. Yeah, that's a difficult spot to repair. As we hit lap number 7 of 12 in the first of 2 races tonight. I'm sure Owens and Denice are looking for a reset. I think they'd really enjoy that. But Madden leads the way now by 10.2 and has just set a pretty fervent pace. The goal for everyone else in race 2 is how do you keep this 3 car out of the top spot? Is it even possible?
Yeah, I know last season we had an invert between the races. Unfortunately for unfortunately for everyone else, there is a reset. You're going to be lined up exactly how you finish in this race. So it is going to be a big challenge. I do think, though, that, again, they got a good start. Everyone else got a pretty good start in comparison to Madden on that rolling start, but we're unable to capitalize, and also we're caught up in an incident in behind the 3. So I think big thing is going to be, can any of them make a move on Madden before they get to turn 1?
So that all-important stretch down to the first corner. Every race and every series on planet Earth, that run to turn 1, it can be absolutely critical, especially if you didn't qualify very well. You can either grab a lot of spots doing things, or you can lose a lot of spots doing things. That happened in the case of the number 55, who I believe rolled off in 3rd, and now down to 5th. And there's just no way to dig yourself out of this hole either. There's nothing really much you can do about it now.
No, absolutely not. Unless he hopes that you just gotta kind of hope that everyone else in front of him makes a mistake. At this point, not a whole lot of chances at that, as we're over halfway through this race. But again, luckily for him, in about 5 laps time, gonna reset everyone, and he'll have another go at just trying to win this race.
Lap 8 begins for David Madden. About 8 minutes remaining in this 12-lap event. Madden out front by 12 seconds, another 2-second gain that time through. And between the 14 and the 4, there's been a pretty significant interval change now, though about 12 seconds between 2nd and 3rd. So Campbell is falling back into the clutches of Owens.
Yeah, I was trying to see where that happened. That happened Variante Alta for Campbell last lap. Just on the second part of the curve, just got a little bit loose over the curbing, and around he went. Went for a little bit of a loop-de-loop, lost about 9 seconds. Oh, and Tamburello does the same.
And again, Campbell spins, and this is following, he was following the 14. He didn't have any trouble now that he's on his own.
And also what happened there, you hit the grass on that entry.
Yeah, so again, just dropping the car. He did this in Akmenarali during practice when we were watching as well, or qualifying rather. Right there, drops the tire. Goes around for a loop, and then Jason Owens sees that, and that is what you call a freebie in the racing industry. Through goes the 5 car back into 3rd place after he started this race in 4. So he's actually net positive now, despite the crash in turn 1 on the opening lap.
Curious to see if Owens is going to be able to hold this, though, because I think Campbell's a little bit faster, at least in the last few laps or anything to go off of. So I think Campbell might be able to catch Owens as long as he doesn't make a mistake, and that's going to be the big caveat there.
Well, being faster is, over what distance are we talking? Are you faster over a lap? Maybe. Are you faster over a race? Well, the 5 car just passed the 4 car because the 4 car was spun out in turn 1. And speed matters when you're stopped on the racetrack during a green flag condition. So Campbell might be quicker in a short stint here, but can he average a little quicker over the rest of the race? That will be a challenge that he has yet to work out. And just behind is the 55 car of Cal Denice, who sees the 4, maybe with a little bit of a bleeding gill, and the shark is coming for a bite.
It's an interesting analogy. I'll give you that one.
Hey, man. Sometimes you got to get creative and make new ones. It's another way of saying blood in the water, right? Give me some credit.
No.
Try not to
I'm giving you credit because that was an interesting one.
You've never heard that one because it's not a real saying.
You got to trademark that.
I'm not going to do that. I did have a conversation with Calvin Fish, who I adore. He's one of my favorite guys on planet Earth. And, of course, Calvin is the announcer for SRO World Challenge as well as IMSA. And,
for fourth place.
Is there spicy? Oh, there's spicy. Here comes the 55 up the inside of the 4, and he'll grab the spot into the Villeneuve chicane and goes for a sweeping pass. Gets the job done. Yeah,
Campbell was struggling through Tamburello, and he ended up overshooting the corner. That's why he ended up losing a lot of time down to Villeneuve, and then we saw what happened there. See Campbell still trying to fight back through Tossa, but can't quite get there. Audi's now starting to stretch his legs and drive away.
Yeah, going back to what I was saying about Calvin Fish, announcer for a handful of top-level racing series, one of my favorite announcers of all time. Got a chance to sit down with him at dinner back at Sebring a couple of months ago, and asked him, is the RG Bargy an original statement? Is he the 5 cars got trouble? And he said, well, no, but I stole that from somebody. He just didn't remember who. Like, I don't know if it matters who you stole it from because I think everybody associates it with you at this point, as we got a full-on battle here into the chicane at Variante Alta. And, wow, that was spicy.
Rush hour traffic in Italy.
I'll say so.
Between Jason Owens, Denice, and Campbell, all fighting it out for third place here in the closing laps of heat number 1.
Yeah, so Jason Owens had some problems. Let's go back a little bit and look at how that happened. He spun the car out a little bit before this, down into Akmenarale. Here's a look. Left rear tire again. Got it going and managed to hang on to the spot, but will he be able to do that for the rest of the race? Time will tell. 3 laps to go for these drivers.
Yeah, especially with the pressure now. He's got 2 guys directly in behind, breathing out his neck. Had a little bit of a gap to play with earlier, but now with these guys such close quarters, could force some errors here. Oh, it goes really hot into the first chicane. It looks like Denice makes it through there pretty well. I don't know if he's going to have enough run by Villeneuve, but he's going to definitely look like he has a go.
Here he comes.
Look inside.
Well, the 5 car give it to him. He'll leave him space. Good racing room there. 5 car jumps the curb on exit. Here comes the 55 to the outside again. Cross up and over. Here comes the 4 car now. 3 horses battling for third place.
Yeah, 5 for the Ferrari. He's trying to make his car as wide as humanly possible. Ferrari versus Audi versus Porsche.
Well, it's the Ferrari's home facility here, the Prancing Horse. Of course.
Well, hopefully they don't have the luck of the Ashford Ferraris
no.
They did last weekend.
That wouldn't do so hot, would it? Of course, Imola's real name, Autodromo Enzo Dino, whatever it is. Dino Enzo Ferrari. It ends with Ferrari. That's all it matters.
Autodrome Enzo E Dino Ferrari.
Thank you. Someone did their research.
You're close.
I knew it ended with Ferrari and had a Dino and an Enzo in it somewhere. And I'm making Finian die. But all I know is that it's named after Mr. Ferrari, and there is a Ferrari in this battle. And right now he is the one that's prevailing, but the 55 is there to challenge him. And the 4 silver rings of Germany, Audi right behind.
Yeah, he has a chance of getting a good run. I don't think the Ferrari really necessarily known for its top speed, so I think this should be pretty easy here. You can see already gaining. Question is, where is he going to go? Looks like he's going to have to pick the right side. Ferrari, a bit of a block as they head down to Tamburello.
Yeah, but did Owens get into turn 1 too hot? Big curb jump on the left, but slowed it down nicely. I think Denice and Campbell were both charging corners, and they were making up time on entry but losing on exit. This time, though, the 55 nicely exits Tamburello. Here he comes down the inside of Villeneuve. Is it too much, though? A little bit hot. The 5 car can repay this back on exit down towards Tossa. Here he comes.
Yeah, looks like Owens has been a little bit too concerned on the brakes. Ooh, a bump from behind. A little bit of a pump to the Audi.
Yeah, there's a back up. Here comes the 4.
Where does Campbell go? Does he want to make a move?
No, I think you want to wait. I think there's still a lap and a half left for this drama to unfold in front of you. I would rather watch it happen in front of me than drive by it rather than be the drama. To understand the drama, you need to be the drama, I suppose, sometimes.
Is that how they go?
Oh, boy, dive.
He was almost the drama there, Jesus.
Man. Tell you what. Germans are formation flying here and diving on their prey. The moment through turn, the turns at Variante Alta and return towards Ruvazza. Meanwhile, David Madden has long since taken the white flag. He's out front by nearly 20 seconds. Christopher Habib is second place, 20 seconds back, but for third, still some battles left to do here. About a lap and a turn remaining.
Let's see if Owens can get a decent run onto the straightaway. Doesn't quite look like he got a good enough run on Denice. Denice got a pretty decent run in his Audi, so he's trying to scamper off away before the Ferrari can get to him.
3/10 is the difference as they head towards turn 1. 2.5 tenths now as they get a little closer. Now 1/10 as they get to the corner. Here comes Owens on the outside. Going to try to tuck in tight. Slide from the 55. Can Owens do the crossover here?
Not quite. Denice has been getting the better run every single time out of the Tamburello chicane, and especially into Villeneuve here. Owens backs out a lot. Denice charges in really high.
Whoa.
Has to give him a lot of time. Owens out in the gravel, and can he hold on to it? He's struggling. There goes the Porsche round.
Oh, not quite clear yet, though. Campbell just slides in front of the 5. That's all Denice wanted to see. He is free and clear up to third place now. Back where he started, it took the whole race. Remember, he was dead last earlier.
And meanwhile, a leader.
Coming back to the checkers. David Madden picks up another one, victorious in race 1 here at Imola for the DCRA round number 3.
Oh, and the number 3 of third place Cal Denice sliding through. Actually managed to still hold on to position through Aqua Minerale, and now here we go side by side for 4th place.
Well, that position is back to the 5 car now. And here comes the 4 up the inside. At Variante Alta grabs the spot back. What a pass, and the 5 car loops it on power.
How about that? That was a fantastic dive for position. I was amazed he was able to still make it through.
Holy cow, look at this. Big dive. That was really nice, and room given by the 5, but clambered over the curbs, didn't have the traction control set right, and then just did a burnout on exit there, unfortunately. And that will be it for the 5. Second place, Christopher Habib. Third place, though, Cal Denice will come home, and the 4 car is going to have to serve a penalty as they comes back to the stripe. Here comes the 5 car. Is he going to get by before the stripe? It looks like he will.
Yeah, well, that was an interesting twist.
Sure was, I'll say. All right, well, race 1 is complete. Don't have enough time to get through the results as they've already finished, but Madden, Habib, Denice, Owens, and then it's the 4 car of Cameron Campbell. Is that not how they started?
I think yeah, it's exactly how they started.
And you would not have guessed that. How the last couple laps of that race were. That was pretty wild, to say the least. All right, well, with that said, race 1 is done. It's going to be a short warm-up period before we take the green for race number 2. We're going to step away for just a moment. We'll be back in a few.
In the heart of Virginia, there's a stretch of pavement that has ingrained itself in American racing history. Built in 1957 with just a bulldozer and a plot of land, Virginia International Raceway has become an icon. Over the years since its reopening in 2000, it has hosted IMSA, the American Le Mans Series, NASCAR, SCCA, and Champ Car races. Legends have raced there, including Roger Penske, Mark Donohue, Richard Petty, Hurley Haywood, Dan Gurney, and more. Between turns 11 and 12 stood a defying feature, an old oak tree. This tree stood untouched, shading the south end of the course for decades. For some, Oak Tree became a symbol of VIR and a reminder of how road courses used to be built. They used to be built with the lay of the land, following each contour and moving around obstacles, not through them. Earth may have been moved, but not tarnished. Oak Tree was a lasting memory of when tracks were not just built, they came to be, like the tree. Although Oak Tree no longer stands, nor does Hog Pen turn 17, the corners both still bear the name of what used to exist. And the track stays unchanged the way it was meant to be, with the lay of the land, for the land. Maybe that's why Paul Newman called it heaven on earth.
Back live for the driving club at Road Atlanta, their iRacing League. Kyle Heyer joined by Vinny DeCuna for our third round of the season. Race 1 is complete. We move on to race 2 here in just a minute and a half or so. An 18-lap race here at Imola for our final event of the evening. Race 1, you would have thought by looking at the start result and the finish result that nothing much happened. That was the furthest thing from the truth, Vinny.
Yeah, they got really intense in the last few laps. The fight for those last 3 positions between Cal Denise, Jason Owens, and Cameron Campbell, all duking it out. And I mean, only reverted back to the original order after Campbell ended up having to serve a drive-through penalty at the last second. I assume from maybe too many incidents. You did see him move it a few times. Actually, do they have an incident?
It all could have also been from cutting the track at one point.
Oh, I think he might. Yeah, he might have gotten a cut track, and then I think probably didn't serve it. That's probably the more realistic one because I don't remember them saying that they had an incident limit. So I think that makes more sense. But yeah, ended up having to serve a penalty in the last lap. So basically, he had to come in. I don't even think he managed to serve it because the race was over at that point. So ended up dropping by default back to last place, but gonna bunch up everyone back again here for 18 laps now, so 6 laps more this time by. Will David Madden be running away, or could we see someone else try to take the lead away from him?
Well, it's all going to come down to that run down to turn number 1. That was what we discussed earlier, and how critical it is to get that right. And I'd say 3 of the 5 had trouble down there the last time, not all of their own doing, but they all kind of ran into each other. And because of that, they put themselves back and gave the 3 car a pretty big head start. So goal number 1 of race number 2 is stay straight until you get out at least of Tamburello. Have another look here at the track map that we're running at here tonight. Again, the Imola circuit, and the 2 important corners that we've seen be a real problem tonight is Akmenarale. We've seen a couple cars go off there, and also the exit of Ravaza. We've seen a couple cars go off there as well, and Tossa at turn number 7. So we've seen those 3 major areas been a big challenge. Variante Alta has been surprisingly clean and tidy, considering that's where a lot of people usually have trouble, and you go in there side by side. It's the narrowest part of the circuit. That place has been pretty nice so far.
Yeah, we did see that really slick pass from Cameron Campbell on the inside of Jason Owens. I was still amazed he was able to pull that off. Dove it completely in there, but was able to pull it off and slowed the car down in time. But we'll see if anyone does something similar this time by as we grid everyone up for race number 2.
All right. Well, the grid is going to look a lot like it did for race number 1 because it is the same grid as race number 1. David Madden will roll off in the front row in the number 3 Ferrari, and Christopher Habib in the number 14 Audi will start alongside him in second place. Finian.
Yeah, moving on back to run number 2, it's going to be Cal Denise line up in 3rd yet again. Jason Owens in 4th with Cameron Campbell rounding out your field of 5, as you mentioned. Exactly the same order. Curious to see, considering they're in the exact same order, if anyone's going to try anything different heading down to, well, technically turn number 2 is the bigger. So I still find it weird that the curve, I think the left-hand curve is considered turn 1, and then the heavy braking zone that's Tamburello, that's technically turn 2. Because numbering is hard.
Numbering's hard in every racetrack ever. Don't even think about asking Sonoma what corner's what. Still don't understand it in all my times of being there and seeing the track in person. Still no less confusing. Madden Habib on that front row, the green and blue. And I wonder if, no Cameron Campbell for the start of this one. He might roll off from the pits. Nope, yes he will. So he will start in the pit lane. And that's a problem here because pit lane has a real slow limiter, and you're going to have.
And it's also long. It goes on for quite a while past that curvature there, so he's going to have quite a bit of time to make up, which is unfortunate because it seems like he had a decent car underneath him, except for a few mistakes here and there. But we'll see what he can do. Now just 4 cars rolling to the grid.
Well, we'll see if the 5 and the 55 get tangled up again. Last time on the run down to turn 1, they tangled. That's what caused that collision that ultimately damaged 3 of the 5 cars in our field. Coming to the green flag this time through, race number 2 of round number 3. Green flag flies and we're racing. This time, the 3 car does not get away. The 55 is right behind him. He's going to sweep over to driver's right of the run down to turn 1. Can he pull alongside and grab the lead away? The slip from the 14. He spins into turn 1.
Doesn't hit anyone, and it looks like Denise not able to stay alongside Madden. The 5 of Owens, however, trying to get alongside the Audi, but couldn't quite get there.
All right, so now it's 3, 55, 5. Then it's the 14 car of Christopher Beebe. Then it's the 4 of Cameron Campbell. Whoa, at the exit of turn 2, 1 car. I think the 5. Oh, he's in the fence.
Oh, hard.
Yeah, he was having troubles with his internet there for a moment, and when he returned to existence, for lack of a better term.
It was actually Denise that had the internet issue. I think that actually helped him, that he didn't end up making contact with the 5.
Yeah, there's big damage on the 5, and the 14 cars looped around it again, so not a good start for the 14 this time.
Yeah, I mean, really struggling. Surprisingly, you didn't really see any issues from him in the first race, but he hit looped around
in the first race on that turn 1 collision, but it wasn't nearly as much damage as the other 2 had. Here's Campbell, started from the pits, already working his way up towards 3rd. This is going to end up being a pretty good decision here. He goes, and he's through.
Yeah, and Owen's not putting on much of a fight because he hit that wall at a weird angle, so I think the suspension's knocked out on the 5, so I think he's going to have to come down to the pits. Yeah, he does have a meatball flag, so he's going to have to pit for damage repairs.
Yep, that is unfortunate. And he just was sort of trying to avoid the 55, who had kind of temporarily disappeared from the world, and when we returned, kind of surprised the 5. That's what caused that collision. David Madden will complete lap number 1. He is all on his own, 3 seconds clear of the lead, in the lead, I should say. Cal Denice runs second, 3 seconds back. Then Cameron Campbell started from the pits. He is up to 3rd place in the number 4 Porsche.
Yeah, 12 seconds back. Curious why he didn't grid that. I would have just, even if he didn't want to necessarily be there, give at least a second or 2 of break.
All 4 of the cars around him, which basically everybody but David Madden, had problems in the first sector. So maybe that was wise to do what he did. He's going to lose ground to the 3 car, certainly, and he did. He's 13 seconds back from the leader, but he's past the 14 and the 5. He very easily could have been caught up in a crash or been in his own.
No, that's unfortunate. Just threw it a little bit too hard through the second half of the Villeneuve chicane.
There goes the 14 car by. Beebe will take it back.
Well, and now they can fight again, as they didn't race number 1.
They just can't seem to get away from each other, can they?
No, it doesn't seem so. I'm curious to see how much damage Campbell has. All the important stuff for the Porsches in the back. So
it doesn't look like a lot at all, and you're right. All the important stuff is in the rear half of the chassis. As long as you don't rip the aero off the car, it should be fine. And it looks okay to me, so Campbell might have gotten away with that one there. And he hit tire bundles. That's the best thing you can hit. Rather do that than hit concrete. Meanwhile, whoa, Dave Madden, a little bit of a mistake there. We haven't really seen a lot of that.
No, he hasn't. I mean, he hasn't been on screen for a lot because he's usually been out there by himself. But yeah, just a little bit hot.
Ooh, look at him working the wheel in there. Right on board here and watch the hands, because he was a busy man here at the exit of Ravaza. Ooh.
Yeah, it's always a terrifying feeling when you feel the steering get light and you feel the back end start to come around. You gotta go, whoa.
He really has been on a roll tonight and just doing everything right behind the wheel of that car.
Yeah, again, it's just a matter of just minimizing mistakes and having some decent pace underneath him. So easily being able to keep the car in front will be, see if we can get 4 wins in a row.
Pretty good way to hold on to the points lead. He's got it by a pretty significant margin, and if things keep going like this, he's going to be pretty much unstoppable in the next couple of rounds. But I'll give Denice credit where credit is due. He's actually keeping in touch with the 3 car this time around. Only 3.3 seconds back after another lap So he's only lost a couple tenths of a second, about 6 tenths.
Yeah, he's hanging in there pretty well. So, I mean, if Madden doesn't make a mistake, Denise is able to reap the benefits. Again, if he's close enough, depending on the mistake that Madden makes. So that's if the 3 makes a mistake.
Well, we see him make a mistake. The question is, to what amount will that mistake affect his overall position on the racetrack? And my general thought is that it's not going to affect him very much. But he's, not a lot of grip down here in Ravazza, so we'll see. Again, this time a little bit more controlled. And one car is a lap down. That's Jason Owens just ahead of second place Cal Denice. So Owens is 1 lap down, and he's going to be stuck here for a while, would be my guess.
Yeah, I think he's going to be stuck here more or less permanently, and doesn't really have anyone near him. He's a minute and 14 seconds back from the next car, that is Cameron Campbell, who is seeing work through the final 2 corners now.
Yeah, there's Campbell working through that final sequence of corners through Ravazza and back up onto the front straightaway. And Christopher Habib in that 14 car, who had a pretty disastrous first lap, got some damage on that car to boot. Very similar, in fact, to the damage that he had in race number 1. He's 20 seconds back from second place Cal Denice. But the front 2 are still only about 3 to 4 seconds apart. So Madden is still driving away from Denice, but not nearly as fast as I would have expected based on his race 1 pace. And I think part of this is that the 55 is no longer damaged. He had a lot of crash damage from that incident at turn 1 in race 1 that he no longer has, so that's certainly helping him out.
Yeah, absolutely. And has a clean car to work with and kind of just get his head down, put some laps in. No real pressure from behind. I mean, he's got 20 seconds back to Habib in the 14, so just has to worry really just about Jason Owens in front, and then can focus on the race lead, or at least try to match his pace. Going to be a tough thing to do to try to make up that pace, considering we know Madden, one of the fastest guys out here on track. So, but definitely sitting for a solid second place, if anything else.
I want to also point out something I just noticed on the nose of the 3. When we makes this corner here, we have a very close look at this right front. And this is actually pretty torn up along this fender line. Now, my guess is if I had to pick an area on the racetrack where I expected that to be, I would guess that your culprit looks something like this. Those yellow and black sausage curbs, those things are pretty gnarly. And if Madden has gotten a little too aggressive on those, they could certainly rip up the front of your car. I don't think it's going to affect him very much at all, but it really can hurt you.
Yeah, on lap 3, I found exactly where. Yeah, on lap 3, working through Aqua Minerale, the right-hander, a bunch of anti-cut curbs on the inside, and went flying over those. That's where he got that damage from.
Aqua Minerale?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Nope.
Oh, on the exit here. Oh, right here.
Yep.
Yeah.
There it is.
These guys. Yeah, those are nasty as well. So David Madden with a little bit of damage, although I will say that here's some problems for the second place car. This is Cal Denice, and that car is toast.
Yeah, this is recent. It's a lot of damage.
Yeah, he was following in right here. Leaving, he's going to drop a tire on the gravel, and wham, that's concrete there. That's pretty significant damage. So that will take Denice out of the equation for the win, certainly at this point. And now it's only a matter of time to when Habib or Campbell will come run him down.
I would say he's just trying to get some extra cooling.
Well, here's the problem.
I guess not really to the engine, right? Because
the engine's here. This is where he's
actually,
cooling.
but where is the cooling for the engine? Is it in the front? I would assume it's in the front, right? I think it's taken to the back, or is it in the side? Is it that?
Here. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
usually, from what I understand, most of these side intake cars, some of them are different, but I think a couple of the cars, their side intakes, one side will do the engine radiator and the other will have like a trans or oil cooler or something, as here comes the 55 to hit pit lane. So it's not like a symmetrical system generally. So like one side will have one kind of radiator, the other will have something else.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, no reason to excessively cool it.
Yeah.
Or you can just be like the Mercedes and just have no cooling on the side.
I did have a really interesting experience. So at Sonoma with World Challenge a couple weeks ago, there was some slight contact in the GT America series that one of the Mercedes had gotten into the back of the Audi, the older Audi, the R8 LMS Ultra. And they had damage that was so light that it just took the lens off of the taillight.
Really?
And the taillight lens was dangling. It wasn't even completely broken. It had like twisted off of a corner and was just dangling. So it didn't like break.
So the light actually worked?
Oh, the light worked and everything. The entire housing was totally fine. Just the lens covering the taillights had rotated out of position.
Oh.
If that is not the gentlest bump and run I've ever seen in my life, I don't know what is.
It's because it's cheapest repair. Because it pretty much cost nothing just putting the light back in place.
Yeah, it really was pretty minor contact. The Mercedes, however, has a lot of the like kind of vertical strakes in the grill, and that thing looked like it had been fighting a dog. The whole nose of that thing was ripped off. I don't know what was going on there. But working our way through lap number 6 and into lap 7, this is the 1/3 mark of this race. And this will mean that we have approximately 21 minutes to go, or the exact race distance that we had in race number 1. This one, though, a lot more natural separation. Cameron Campbell now goes for a spin in the 4 car. Definitely not formulating the battles like we saw in that first race, but have a look at this.
Yeah, I thought he'd be fighting with Habib, but just has not been able to cash back up there.
Carried too much speed, got up onto the AstroTurf there. And you could kind of tell this was going to happen because he enters with so much side momentum here. Turns in, he's going way hot. He exits the corner, so much load on that right rear tire that it just steps around on him. And then he gets into the wall pretty hard. That Porsche is looking a little bit bent up there, but it's pretty strong in the nose, as we've already covered.
Yeah, I was going to say he hit another tire there, so he's pretty lucky he's starting the car into the wall in the right parts of the track.
Whoa.
So, as he gets a little bit loose there.
Another bobble. 32 seconds back from Habib. They're actually spread out shockingly equally across the entire track. Like if you split this place into 5 equal segments, you'd have one of these cars on each one of those segments at the moment.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Everyone's split by about 25 to 30 seconds apiece.
I can show you what that looks like, actually. And we'll do that. That's what it looks like at the moment. 5 separate areas on the racetrack with 5 different cars. Didn't even know you could do what I just did.
What?
I didn't know our timing software, you could drag individual segments out of the timing screen.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah, I was going to say, we've been using this, for like 3 years?
4 at this point, I think. Since June of 2018.
Oh, yeah, geez. Should really do something.
You can lead a horse to water. But you can't make it drink.
I completely forgot, also looking through this, too, I completely forgot the session events tab existed.
It's not showing. Is it showing things for you?
Oh, it's showing a lot of things for me.
Mine is not working for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah, I can see a lot of stuff, including the incidents, too. Didn't realize it showed.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing I also need to realize is that I didn't know you could filter. There's a filter thing, and you can. This program is so cool. It'd actually be so much more useful if I could just make it just incidents and crashed instead of like every event possible. And you can do that now, which I didn't know you could do. You probably could do it the whole time, Finian, but I'm too stupid to know how to use the tools in my disposal. So.
Oh, there's also a spotter guide too.
Yeah, I don't know what that does.
It basically just makes a spotter guide like what you would see like on a press release.
Mine's also not working, so that's.
Oh, should look into that.
I don't know what's going on. Something's broken. Anyway, David Madden leads now by 32 seconds. It's another. This is how amazingly equal this is. 32 seconds back to Christopher Habib, 34 back to Campbell. Then it's 29.7 back to Denice, and then 20 back to Jason Owens. So they're almost equally split around the racetrack as we approach lap number 9. Next time around will be the halfway mark for David Madden, who again has won the last 3 of 4 races. This would be his 4th in the last 4 races if he could pull this off. A little bit of a wobble there for Habib on the brakes. And slow out of the final corner, gets back to throttle.
I think had cut, earlier in the lap, maybe? I think it looked like he was trying to give up time.
Well, let's go back and look at Variante Alta, because that is typically where you'd get the slap on the wrist from the stewards. It's right on board.
But he cut a little bit of time there. I don't think Variante Alta.
Nope.
Pretty tidy through there. So I think it was through Aqua Mineral. I think maybe was forced to give up some time.
Found it. It's right here. That will definitely get you a slowdown here at Imola. This line. Yeah, that was one of the evil places on this racetrack where it will bite you if you don't behave. So Madden leads in the Ferrari, which is actually seemed to be a pretty balanced choice here. You've got one kind of long straightaway. The rest of it I don't think is really super relevant for straightaway speed. And I think you're right. I don't think you'd necessarily choose the Ferrari for straight line pace necessarily. But if you did, I think usually the McLaren's like the fastest rocket in the straight line, or the BMW. I think that was the OP car at Bathurst a couple of months ago. But the Audi seems to be an unpopular choice across the board. But here, a lot of drivers seem to like it. I'm surprised that we don't see more drivers in the Lamborghini, which is very similar in driving style, but I think a little cooler.
Yeah, waiting for the new Audi and the new Merc. I think those are probably the 2 cars that could use Evo kits on.
Yeah,
and I think at that point probably have every car with an Evo kit except for the McLaren.
Yeah, well, the Audi is going to have a new one. Well, you said the new Audi, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, they're getting another Evo kit because they have one already.
There's a new one for next year, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, knowing iRacing, you're probably going to get the old one.
Yeah.
Yep. Maybe.
And Ferrari is currently testing a new GT3 car entirely.
Oh, yeah, I saw, what was it, 296?
Yep. The GTB or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just looking at the car. It just, like, I don't know. It just doesn't seem as Ferrari as the other Ferraris.
Well, it looks a lot like a Ford GT is what it looks like. Because they're I think manufacturers are potentially starting to realize that they can just make prototypes and make them somehow look like a GT car, and then they'll,
Yep. It looks like a good car. I just don't think.
Oh, it looks fantastic. I don't think it's a GT car necessarily, but
it does not look similar to like the 458, 488, 430.
Definitely a step away from what has been a pretty common design, especially because the 458 and 488 are essentially largely the same car.
Oh, Habib's around.
Whoop. That is, where is this on track? This is
Aqua Minerale.
Aqua Minerale, yeah. And how did that happen? Here's a look. We drop a tire on the left would be my bet. No, on the apex that time. It actually, I don't even think he got any of the curb. I wonder, did he just hit a bump the wrong way?
Maybe. Or just under braking.
On the brakes, hits the brakes here, turns in. Oh, hits the brakes again mid-corner. I think that kind of unsettles the car. Puts a lot of weight on the nose.
This is what makes Aqua Minerale so difficult. You have to start braking around that point and turn in, but you have to be careful not to put in too much brake. Otherwise, you have exactly what happened to Habib. You just end up spinning around while the car's braking and putting under a low. The car just loops itself.
Yeah, it's a pretty common phenomenon that you've probably heard is lift-off oversteer. But in that case, it's lift-off oversteer is caused by putting weight on the nose of the car, and usually that's by just lifting off the throttle, but stomping on the brake can do the same. If you do that aggressively mid-corner, you can shift all the weight off the rear tires and go around for a loop. So lots of good things to learn here as David Madden continues to lead this race by about 40 seconds, coming up on 7 laps to go next time around, and closing in on somebody in front of him to put him another lap down. That appears to be the 55 car of Cal the Nice, who is still on the lead lap at the moment. Will join Jason Owens as a lap down car. And more damage to the rear of this 55. He was.
Oh, and after he just got the car fixed up too.
Yeah. That wing is looking less than optimal.
I'm actually curious how he got that. Yeah, but I guess. Oh yeah, he in Villeneuve he spun out and back into the wall.
On this most recent lap, he did.
No, it was a while back. It was
Okay.
lap 7.
Oh, that was about 5 laps ago. Yeah, so been a little bit of time. The V10 certainly wailing underneath the engine cover in the back of that Audi. But Madden closing in again to put him a lap down. He's just been flawless tonight. He's been really consistent in his lap times too, and has had only a few small slip-ups, but I don't think he's put a tire off track all night long.
No, and again, doesn't really need to. I mean, doesn't need to force the issue. Again, I'm sure he's been trying to push himself to put it some decent lap, but doesn't need to overly push and force the issue to the point where he goes flying off the track. A la Charles Leclerc.
Man, Ferrari has had a real rough couple of rounds of starts or races lately in Formula One.
Yeah. I mean, they're still leading both the drivers and constructors championships. They're still looking good, although Red
Yeah,
Bull's
no thanks
starting
to
to look.
Sainz.
Yeah, he's had a miserable 2 races. I mean, getting beached in both lap 1s, like it's a bit rough.
Yeah, not great. David Madden works through Variante Alta. And we'll head back to the stripe to get 6 laps to go. And this race has been decidedly less chaotic because the drivers have been spread out so much, but just trying to run laps. Again, Christopher Habib is running pretty solid lap times, but just the consistency wasn't there at the start of the race. And Cal Denice as well had a really promising start to this one, and it just went downhill fast in 2 separate crashes. And looking forward to the rest of the season, I think, you know, the potential is there for Cal to grab a win. He's just got to keep it going the right direction first.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, minimizing the amount of mistakes. I mean, to finish first, he must first finish, arguably with a clean car.
Wow, do you see how close Madden was to the edge of the racetrack right there?
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty much on the white line, if not just on the grass. It's flirting with death right there.
Oh my goodness, look at this. That is about as close to the edge of the track as you can possibly be without ending up turned around backwards.
Well, racing's all about finding the limit. Madden's definitely found it.
Yeah, that is the limit, I think you could safely say. No more exploring at that point. And think how quickly this can turn, right? I mean, if you slip up, and it's not typically on corner entry to a slower corner like that, but some of these faster corners like right here into Piratella, if you step a tire off track, you can overcorrect, end up in the wall like we saw the 55 car do earlier, and go from hero to zero real fast. Regardless of a 52 to a second to a minute long lead, you crash your car, you're out of the race and done for.
Yeah, I mean, the best thing is that if you could try to limp the car back to pit lane, but even then you're still losing so much time with that. So definitely doesn't want to do it again. Has no real reason to. Again, 52-second lead over Habib.
And led every lap tonight. All, how many have we completed? We've done 25 laps that we've done.
Yes.
And we're going to have 5 laps left to go this time through. And about to put the 55 car a lap down. Haven't checked in on Cameron Campbell in a little while. Here he is in the number 4 Porsche, all on his own at the moment. Jason Owens is out of the race. Looks like he's retired the car, as the 55 car is going to go a lap down and contact with the leader and spins. That wasn't ideal.
No, it definitely wasn't.
Goes to the right, and on the brakes, makes a left. Oh, I think the 3 actually kind of crowds him over a little bit there. That was sort of on Madden, Finian.
Yeah, Madden came on the radio. He apologized for that. Said he thought he was going to be clear by the time they got there.
Yeah, definitely was not. Oof. Yeah. Tagged the 55. Luckily, got into the gravel and not into the concrete. So David Madden will get back rolling.
As a wise man once said, every time you have to leave the space.
You have to leave the space. He'll get right back up on the horse and continue. Didn't lose any of his lead. And Christopher Habib was a handful of seconds slower last time around than he was previously. Where did that incident come from, Finian?
Sorry, repeat that?
Never mind, it was the lap prior. It was about 10 seconds off pace, I think. Maybe there was a glitch in the timing because...
Oh, no, you're right about that. In Tamburello, he went off the track on the exit, just pushing a little too hard. Went flying into the tire barriers.
Whoa, a little wiggle there out of Villeneuve. And you see some damage to the rear wing that I don't think was there before, so that car has definitely been off track.
Yeah, that was from that off-track excursion into Tamburello. Whoa.
Have a look at this. Dave Madden ran his best lap last time by, and I think part of that is because you're burning off the fuel at this point, and you're 18 laps worth of fuel lighter. That is helping. Your tires are up to temp, and having a look at the weather information, I thought it was going to get hotter, but it is significantly cooled down, basically 15 degrees cooler than it was when we started the broadcast.
Yeah, I'm sure these drivers are enjoying the fact it's a little bit cooler. Gives you a little bit more grip to work with.
Yeah, just a little bit. It's something that we were, in our Indy Elite Series 500 last weekend, we were talking about track temperatures and how much it changes. And
yeah, that was crazy.
It was
the amount
amazing.
of fluctuation with that.
Yeah, and I think, in an environment like this, I don't think you're going to feel the temperature change as much, because you're not in as control of an environment where you're taking the same exact line every single time. But I think it's still going to affect you, and generally you're going to run faster laps at the end of the day versus the beginning in an environment like this. So Madden works through Piratella on his run around to pick up 3 laps to go. As Habib runs second, Cameron Campbell runs third, Cal Denice fourth, and Jason Owens in fifth, who is retired. Cameron Campbell, remember, he started this race from the pit lane after being scheduled to start dead last. Started from the pits, drove up into third, had some spins and some contact, then repassed, is now back in third.
I guess it did work out in the end for him.
Yeah, I mean,
avoiding carnage on lap 1.
Yeah, he's had pace to be third or fourth place, and ended up in fifth in race 1, and was trending to be fifth in this race as well. But now is finally back up on the horse as Habib has gone around again. This is, I think, at the exit of Villeneuve once more. This has been a trouble spot for him all night. And here's a look. Ooh, just a little offline on entry. And again, on the brakes, kind of mid-corner, didn't have enough steering input in it, and slid around.
Able to get the car righted back in the correct direction, going a little bit slow, though.
Yeah, certainly running a little slower. Might just be looking for some competition. Cameron Campbell, 17 seconds back. And for David Madden, he's now through Villeneuve, carrying really good speed through here, right out to the edge of the gravel. And we'll be coming around to 2 laps to go next time by, so about 4 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in our final race of the evening.
He's about a straightaway or so away from lapping Cameron Campbell, putting 3 cars a lap down.
Here's Habib running into Ariente Alta now. This is such a fun combination of corners. A little bit less fun now that they tightened up the track limits there. Used to be kind of sling it through.
Yeah, but I guess they didn't want people just absolutely murdering the curbs every single lap to go fast.
Yeah, you got yourself into some pretty
necessary
troubling positions. I bet that the 14 and 4 are just gearing up for a scrap here at the last couple minutes of this race. I think that's what the 14 is slowing down for. Look at the 3 car just expertly dancing through the chicane and coming back to 2 laps to go.
Yeah, you can tell Madden's put in a lot of practice. He just looks so in control when going around this track, hitting very consistent lap times, and just that car, it looks like you can place it anywhere and it's going to work. Been hitting his apexes, hitting his exits, and doing everything he's to do. I mean, it's been what's gotten him over a minute and a half lead over everyone else.
Minute and 32 seconds from first to second. I don't think we've actually never really seen a domination by that much, except for in a couple Oval Series races back in the 3-wide Racing League days. We had people winning races by an entire lap. Almost always it happened at Thunder Alley. What's that place called? Rockingham? Rockingham.
Rockingham.
And we had one in Atlanta that was like that once.
Yes.
Here's the battle we were waiting for. Second place, Habib, and third place, Cameron Campbell. Ooh, the 14's wide. Here comes the 4.
I'm not sure what it's going to mean for him to get this close, but we'll see here. Campbell getting really close. He's not going to have too many opportunities left to make a move on that number 14.
down into Akmenarale now for the penultimate time. Now the battle's on. These two went to war in the first race of the night and the beginning of race number 2, but they have not seen each other in a while. Here they come.
Slight defensive line from Habib as Campbell was looking potentially to make a pass.
And just behind them, you hear the Ferrari of the race leader approaching. I believe here comes the 4 and down into Rivazza.
Oh, and Habib's going to throw it hard around the outside. He's actually slowing down and let Campbell get around him. Almost like a DRS tag that Max and Leclerc are playing.
DRS tag, yeah. I like that game.
It looked like he was trying to get in behind Campbell, maybe for him to get some slipstream down the straightaway. Now it's Campbell with the run. There he goes, going to move to the left side.
White flag for the race leader, who is right behind them. If Madden gets by them, they will finish the race on this lap, and they might, because awkward clamber over the curbs for Campbell. Habib is in behind, and the 3-car of Madden is going to put him a lap down if they continue falling at this rate. Here he comes.
Curious what Madden's going to do, because he really doesn't have to put these guys a lap down. It doesn't matter if he wants to or not.
Does he want to force the issue, force these guys to make up the fight as he goes? Oh, big dive by the 14. He might not have a choice. These two end up colliding.
Definitely a possibility here. As both these guys working around. Habib trying to find a way back past Campbell.
Ooh, the 4-car runs wide. Here comes the 14 again, and this is the weakest area for both of these drivers. They've both struggled in Akmenarale tonight. Oh, the 4 right on the edge of the racetrack. He's going to slide. The 14's going to spin. Here he goes. See ya.
And Habib off the track. You got to get a good run out of Akmenarale. Unfortunately for Habib, pushed it a little too hard.
Now where is Cal Denice? Little ways back. I'm not sure he's going to get. He might get there.
He's going to get very close there.
Cameron Campbell, a couple seconds ahead of David Madden. If he can finish ahead of the 3, he is safe. If he gets past, he'll have to go another lap. But behind him, the 14 slips again, and here comes the 55. And these guys are coming to the checkers this time through.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And speaking of the checkers, out of the final corner, David Madden on the front straightaway now. Dominant performance with a 3.
Well, he'll pick up his 4th race win in a row, and he'll win this one by over 1 minute and 40 seconds because Cameron Campbell is a long way back. Meanwhile, final corner for 3rd place, last spot on the podium, Christopher Habib and Cal Denice, 3rd and 4th in the run to the line. They will finish up the race. So the only driver left is Cameron Campbell, which he will take up the, I guess you could call it the honorary checkers, because he can't gain or lose any spots at this point.
Yeah, well, he's going to try to finish this out. And manages to go from 5th up into 2nd place.
I'm going to consider that finished at this point. Pretty much, Let's run through the results. There's no way for him to gain or lose at this point. There is a look at your race results. I think the other drivers are going to try to fight each other, though, because there they are, tangling here in their very traditional post-race collaboration, you could call it. I didn't realize how bouncy the Audi was.
Yeah, apparently it is. Can't wait for these things to get new damage models.
I can't wait to see parts fly everywhere.
Yeah, I was gonna say, especially in a lot of the official GT3 races, it's gonna be absolute carnage. Imagine Watkins Glen's gonna break people's computers from all the wrecks.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm excited. Can't wait for my computer to melt itself into pieces. I think my computer is actually training to be part of the SpaceX launch computer system, and it does that by running iRacing with new damage model cars at new tracks. That's how it works out. It's computer muscles. Like Tomater going in reverse here.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Doing a good job.
Where's Cameron Campbell at? I think he's going to gear up to ramp this 55. If he doesn't, I quit.
Yeah, we'll see. He's got a long ways to go.
Look at how perfect of a ramp that would be.
Curious to see where he's going to actually catch him. Definitely hauling right here.
I'm impressed at how fast Cal's going in reverse here.
I'm always amazed by how tall the reverse gear is in some of these cars. Like they would ever reach this speed in reverse.
I didn't realize this would show negative first gear.
Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, like why is the gearing in such a way where they can go? They're going highway speed in reverse. That's terrifying.
I have a hard time believing that it's actually real, right?
I can't imagine it's that real. Because why would you need that much gear?
You would never need that much gear. It'd be hard to drive.
Because you would only
car.
need it. Like the most people go in reverse normally is what, like maybe 10, 15, maybe 20 miles an hour tops.
If you're driving, you just robbed a store and you're trying to get out of the parking lot, maybe. Boom! Oh, there he goes.
Oh, that was some bouncy Audi.
Bouncy Audi. Whoop! 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 Bud, you can't park there, bud. Oh. Now it's the German standoff. Porsche versus Audi. Which one will win?
Oh, they're gonna reverse into each other? Or reverse and then go into each other?
Oh, this is lining up the sight here. Oh, this is going to be glorious.
Here he comes.
Boom! Oh, he's gone.
Up, and the Porsche is flipping down the hill.
Oh, boy. Well, that's it for tonight. Cars are totaled and done with. Their winner, David Madden, in both races this evening. What a blast. That was a lot of fun. In a couple weeks' time, Finny, we gear up for our second, excuse me, I should say our fourth round of the season. It's just a couple weeks away, and one up the schedule to confirm where we're headed to for the next one. But looking forward to more of this as we come. And you're right, it is Circuit to Spa-Francorchamps. That'll be a fun one. Big track, lots of high speed, and should be entertaining to watch at the very, very least. What's up next on the SimTV schedule? Well, looking ahead towards the weekend, it's going to be the Outsider Racing League. Their next round will take us to Iowa Speedway this Saturday night at 10 o'clock Eastern. And tomorrow night, the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Canada is going to head to Spa-Francorchamps tomorrow. So make sure you join in on Porsche's Twitch channel. That'll be twitch.tv/Porsche to join us there. Well, that's going to do it for us tonight. We're going to step out and see you in 2 weeks' time for round 4 of the Driving Club at Road Atlanta iRacing League from Spa.